So how do you avoid scams when buying or selling a car online? There's so many scams around and some of them are really quite insidious. I just wanted to flag up some ways that you can protect yourself from a lot of these scams that people fall for when they sell cars to you, and things to look out for when you're perusing the ads of cars for sale. So the biggest red flag for me when I'm looking through car sales listings on a site like eBay, for example, is just checking the feedback score. So if people have got 0 feedback score, I will generally completely avoid those. If they don't have a feedback or a reputation and they're not an established seller of cars, or they're not an established user of the site that I'm using, they are likely to have just had their account set up for the purpose of scamming people. It's not always the case. There are sometimes genuine people out there, but one of the biggest red flags when I look through adverts, about 90 to 95% of the ones that I see where the feedback score is non-existent and it's a recently added account, it just smacks of being a scam. So with car sales scams, they generally want you to send them money not through the designated channels of the site you're using. So if you're dealing with a dealer, a car dealership, or a larger company, they will certainly give you the facility of setting up finance on the car, or a credit card payment, or some sort of card payment. So if it looks like a dealer, they're asking you to just wire them some money from your bank, and they don't have card facilities or finance facilities. Again, in my mind, that raises a red flag. They're the sort of people you want to avoid. Under no circumstances should you be wiring money to a person or to a company for the purchase of a car. So there's one scam that we recently intercepted. So what someone had done, they'd set up a fake version of online forums. They'd included our forum as well, particularly. And on that, they flagged up this company name and they were asking the question, is this company a scam? It looks like a scam. And they generated a lot of fake replies from people saying, no, it's not a scam, it's perfectly safe, you can send money to these people and have no worries whatsoever. People were looking on the auction site, finding this company, and then when they start doing research, a superficial glance of that research seems to imply that this is a legitimate company and what they're doing seems to be above board. But when you start investigating the site URL that they've used, you'll see that it's been recently registered and the homepage is generally nothing to do with the website they're claiming to be. It's quite clear that you're just looking at a fake page or a fake page or two. Clicking around the site as well, you start to see that maybe they're redirecting you to the site they've copied and there's pages missing or images missing. So these would all be certain red flags that I would certainly avoid. So in this scam we'd intercepted, they were selling cars. So you would contact the person with the listing and they would basically say, I'm dealing with another company on this, they're selling the car for me, and they're located overseas. So it would not be possible for you to physically go and see the car. So in this case, they also offered a money back guarantee. So if you bought the car and you didn't like it or you had any problems, you've got 10 days to send the car back and get a full refund. So if people were buying into that, they were sending their money to this company, hoping for the car to be delivered with the reassurance in their mind that if it was no good, they could send it back, and they don't get the car delivered. And after a set period of time, maybe they're even messed around and given extended delivery dates to give the scammers an opportunity to fully siphon the money out of the accounts and channel it away. So there's no chance of you ever recovering that money. So be very careful if they're flagging up some sort of delay system or things just don't look right. Another scam is where they say that they're going to collect a car from you. They're going to wire you some money and they're going to wire you some additional money for their transporter company to cover their transportation costs. So what invariably happens in that situation is the money will look like it arrives in your bank account. So very quickly after that, a few days usually, that transaction will be flagged up by the bank as fraudulent. It will be reversed. So the money that you think you've got in your account is not actually in your account. And if you've given money to someone who's collected your car, you've lost your car and you've paid them their transportation fee. So you've lost out big time. So that's another quite big scam for people selling cars that you really need to look out for. And just generally get a feel for the person selling the car. If you're ringing up and it's a private sale, just say to them, I'm calling about the car. So if they're selling more than one or they've got lots of listings, they're going to have to ask you which car it is that you're inquiring about. Maybe they probe further, asking questions to try and ascertain which car it is you're looking for before they actually answer it. So always try and see the car in person, do a test drive, or get an independent inspection carried out on the car, and that will at least guarantee that the car is a physical car. If they start making excuses, again, that's a red flag and you can walk away from that. We've also heard instances where people have photographed cars on people's drives, they've taken a deposit for that car, and the person has just had a random stranger knocking on their door saying, I've paid the deposit, I've come to collect the car, and you're not selling your car. Someone has impersonated you, taken a deposit, they're happy that they've got that deposit money, and now you're left with an angry and disappointed buyer who thinks that the car they were buying was your car. So don't be fooled. If you notice anyone acting suspiciously around your car, particularly taking photographs that could be used in this kind of way, certainly prevent that from happening, and keep an eye out on listings in the local auction sites as well, and just see if your car is maybe being listed for sale. They tend to focus on local areas, so wherever you live, just check the local classifieds as well, and just see if someone is trying to sell your car, and hopefully you might be able to intercept. But on the receiving side of that, if you've got a photo of a car and someone is asking for a cash deposit, be very, very careful. You could just be giving a cash deposit or a wire or a bank transfer to someone who is claiming to be selling the car. If you actually ask for a copy of the registration document, that can obviously give you a little bit of protection. You can put together fake registration documents, but it's quite a hard, challenging thing to do, and it wouldn't be something they can turn around very quickly. So ask them to send you immediately a copy or a photograph of the registration document. And if they can't do that, or there's a big delay, or the document you get looks like it's been through Photoshop, again, walk away and have nothing to do with that. So another insidious problem that some of our members and some people have contacted us about is where they're dealing with a legitimate company. They've got business premises that check out, a long history, they've got good feedback, they look like they're a good company. And what had happened in these instances was the scammers had hijacked the auction listing account of these legitimate companies, created a whole set of fake listings. They'd given a phone number they'd given a mobile number to contact, and they'd asked the people to wire them the money. So again, part of that scam was getting the money wired through the banking system. So often when you've wire transferred money, there is no recourse. It's as good as giving cash to someone. So be very, very careful if anyone is talking about a wire transfer or some form of money transfer that does not give you that guarantee. If you can get an independent person to hold that money in escrow, so when you've confirmed you've got the car, they can release the funds, and they won't give the funds back to you. The seller says that they've given you the car, and it gives you an opportunity to get things investigated and flashed out. But buying a car on finance, using a credit card, and using the legitimate payment methods that proper car dealers and auction sites offer you will afford you substantially more protection than you will get just randomly wiring money. If you want to wire money to someone, please just wire it to us. We really do need funds, so all your donations are gratefully received and highly appreciated. And just a little thank you to people that have actually gone on. They've wired us a little bit of money on PayPal, and all that money goes into creating new videos and new content. We're not in it for the money. We're not trying to generate massive profit. We don't take sponsored posts from people or sponsored articles unless they're particularly good articles that I've pretty much gone out and bought anyway. So have a chat with your mates about some of these scams and the ways they operate. The more people that know how these scams operate, the harder it is to operate these scams in the first place and get them up and running. And there's an action fraud hotline. Whichever country you're in, there's generally some sort of police department dedicated to dealing with these online scams, deception and fraud that people do when you're buying and selling cars. So don't just walk away, mention it, pass these details on to law enforcement agencies. Make it much harder for these scammers to get away with what they're doing. And please let us know your experiences. If there's any scams you're aware of that we've not flagged up in this video, please let me know in the comments and I'll redo this video or I'll add another video detailing those scams and the ways that they work. So thanks so much for watching. Stay safe out there, particularly when you're buying a car. car. We'd love you to stay tuned, so subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.